Hey guys, Bill here, Angry Ginger Guitars. I had not intended to make this video. I was playing around with stains and dyes and things like that to kind of get the finish and color of what I wanted for the PRS build. But I figure since I'm new at this, some of you might be new at this, and so let's get some footage. You know, maybe you guys can learn from some of my mistakes. I used TransTint dyes. I did not start with stains. I started with the dye. There is a difference. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. There is a difference, and I used the TransTint blue and black, 3 different sets of dyes, as you see in the video. The straight blue, blue and black, and just black. It was a learning curve. I've never done this. I've never blended these kinds of colors in before. I'm not the most visual artistic person, so it's not a natural thing for me. I got to work at it, and there's a lot of pitfalls that I found. And one is don't be afraid of the color. You know, layer it on if you have to. If you want to start light, layer it up. If you want to get it a little bit heavier, I use a little more dye on future attempts that ended up coming much better than I expected. Now I used just pieces of wood like this, got a big old piece, chopped it up, so I had some blanks to work with. The other interesting thing that I learned is the difference between, say, your Minwax stain versus your TransTint dye. TransTint dyes are water-based. That's one of the cool things these days. Well, most dyes are, but you can use them in alcohol, you can use them in water. I use it in water because it's a little more malleable. You can work with it continuously, and I enjoyed it. There's none of the odor of all the crazy coloring products, whereas your Minwax, it's an oil-based stain, so you crack it open and you're going to immediately smell it. You're going to have to dry out your rags outside or dispose them in a specific way. Whereas your just water-based dyes, you just want to make sure you don't get it on your clothes, which I did. But I chose the shirt specifically for that. So let me show you kind of what I worked with here. The one thing I'm going to do on the back and sides of the guitar is I'm going to black it out. Nice and black. I'm not going to paint it, but I want it solid black. Now, let me check this out. This black is Minwax stain. This is a couple layers of it too. This is what it gives me. Now, ignore the sanding marks. It was done with a rough grit. But this is a very interesting result as far as the stain itself goes, because it made it black, and it says true black on the stain, but there's a lot of wood grain there. It's a lot lighter than I anticipated or I wanted. Now, when using the black dye, which I mixed with water, 2 ounces of water, a little bit of dye, I got this much darker, much richer, and it's drying now, so it's going to look a little wonky as far as that streak there. But it is night and day, and so I think just for ease of use and malleability, I think I'm gonna go with the stain on this one. I'm sorry, the dye, not the stain. But as far as my attempts at doing a fade is an early attempt. That middle part, a little bit weird. I gave it my 3 here. That's my 3rd favorite one, I guess you could say. 2 would be this side. It's a great part about things like this. A little bit better. I'm starting to get the shading of it. Not fantastic. Of the early ones I did, this is number 1. Again, not bad, not fantastic. The one I like the most, and it's drying right now, but is this guy here. I got the fade kind of how I wanted it, a little more representative of what it's going to look like. I did choose a wood that has a similar grain that can soak in, so that way I knew what I was dealing with. And I gotta say, I'm excited. This came out way better than I anticipated. I am still amazingly nervous to do this on my guitar. I haven't decided. I've got that one piece left. Haven't decided if I'm going to practice one more time just to make sure I've got the technique down. But this guy right here, the one that did this, and then it's going to be black on all sides, I'm going to put some polyurethane on this to see really how it looks, see if it pops the way I want it to. And, the takeaways, I'm enjoying myself. This is really cool. It's my first foray into this kind of coloring. Normally I do natural finishes. So I guess my last thing, gloves. Wear gloves. It gets everywhere. It can be a nightmare. You gotta be real careful when you open it. Hold it by the collar, not the bottle, otherwise it spits. Learned that one the hard way. But yeah, so thanks for coming with me on this journey, and this is your little bonus video in the solo PRS style double cut build. Thanks, guys.